Now it's time to start with today's proceedings. Ladies and gentlemen, requesting all of your attention as we dive into the first plenary session of the day, centered around the topic Platformized Security, Possibilities and Constraints, Security Imperatives of Aggregate, Planetary Level and Intelligence Efforts versus Local Constraints. To deliver this session, it's my privilege to introduce you all to the esteemed panel of speakers. Vinu Thomas, Principal Project Manager, Trellix. Kiran Vangveti, CEO and Founder, Blue Sapphire Cyber Systems Private Limited. Kalpesh Bharatdoshi, Group CISO, HDFC Life. Jackson Fernandez, VP Information Security, Bangalore International Airport Limited. Durga Dubey, Global CISO, RILA. And to moderate the session, may I request all of you to please join the stage with a huge round of applause. It's over to the first plenary for the day. Over to all of you.
So again, good morning, everybody. I said good morning. Very good, excellent energy. So friends, I was actually expecting, we all were expecting that the room will be full, but it is not even half full, I guess. But that's okay. We can't wait for some more time because again, it will be difficult for the all other sessions during the day. So friends, the subject when DSCI reached out to me, asking me to moderate this panel, I was kind of initially for 3-4 seconds kind of little scared about the subject because the subject is too long. So, but it is very meaningful. If you look at the subject, it is so contextual and meaningful. I think that this is the best subject for all of us to deliberate. So I just scribbled certain things in the morning. Before I really start giving it to all my co-panelists, I'll just give a brief about this subject so that I'll set the context and all of us will be on the same page. So friends, as I said, it is too much, too contextual. And more so that if you look at the technology landscape today, everybody is talking about platform. So security should literally sit left and start talking about platform also. And the word platform is not very new. And it has been there for so many years, like the moment you start thinking about platform, the railway comes to your mind. And in a platform, so many things are variable. The train is variable, train number is variable, the shops are variable, the outlets are variable, so many things are variable. So what is constant in the platform? So platform actually is aggregating so many things and delivering a solutions. So essentially, if I broadly define platform, and keep it little open for all the panelists to talk about that. It's actually multiple organic services. I mean it organic services from a single architecture, delivered from a single architecture. You have a single architecture and you have multiple organic services, they are delivered from the single architecture. Now coming to the, platform is not just integration of various functionalities, which is hitherto delivered by point solutions, but it is much more than that. What is much more than that? That will come during the part of our discussion. It's not that simple that you just aggregate multiple solutions and tell that it is a platform. I, for one, as a CISO for a largest company in this country, I feel that there are a lot of advantages of these platformizations. One of the advantages which gives me a lot of satisfaction when this platformization is happening is reduction of the trusted attack surfaces. And more so because of the supply chain attack which has been happening, I think that this trusted attack surface, the only way to reduce that is to reduce the trusted attack surfaces. So platform actually gives us a chance to reduce the trusted attack surfaces, but we will definitely know from others what do they feel, what do they perceive, the benefit of these platformizations. Then coming to And if you look at the evolution of the platformizations, actually it all started from the endpoint. In fact, the threat also started from endpoint. The people who have been in the security industry will definitely relate to that. All security threats, it started from endpoint. It traverses to applications through network. And finally, it has again come back to the endpoint. People, I'm speaking to so many people who are in the services of managed security and all, they would understand that most of the alerts or most of the threats which come in a SOC is actually 70% are threats from the endpoint. So endpoint is very important. So when the platformization joining started, the first platform started is the endpoint. So today, all the services which are delivered by the endpoint security is now consolidated, and that has become an endpoint security platform. You call it in any name, you call it in XDR, you call it whatever, any X. X is in fact has become a synonym for platform today. So everybody uses the word X, XDR, XSIM and so many things. And this, this evolution of endpoint has gone to network level. Today, there are thanks to zero trust and all what started. So people started consolidating the network stack also and started delivering as a network platform. So there is a network platform, there is a endpoint platform, which is very prominent platform. I have not seen a data security platform or any other platform. I have not also seen a platform which is very specific to certain services only, which all are technology and services, they are bundled together. And with this consolidation at the network and the endpoint level, there are various challenges to this issue. We will talk about those challenges to this issue. There are definitely overlapping. One of the challenges which I would say is to me what it comes. I am saying this because I want to make it open so that all of us can deliver it. Is that if you look at the two broad platform which is today in the market, one is the network platform which is delivered by the network security solution providers. One is the endpoint platform which is delivered by the endpoint security platforms. But there are overlapping. I am not trying to take the name of the people, but the name of the solution providers. If you look at, there are network, the very traditional name in the network, they are now prominent in the endpoint. And I mean, it's not, it may happen that the people who are very prominent in the endpoint will go to the network. Some of the services like SOAR, like behavior analytics, all sort of things, they will be commonly delivered by both network provider and both the provider of the endpoint platform. So that is where there is a cross section of services which becomes very, very redundant for a service or for organizations like us. I mean, for a CISO's perspective, you will always tend to invest in the same thing multiple times. It may happen. So that is something that we should think, that there are always duplication of services. So I just tried to summarize a couple of things which came to my mind. So I will start with the okay. So we actually the panel is a mix of service providers and CISOs. So my first questions to all the panelists is, I just wanted to give a definition of platformization in a very simple way. I just wanted to make it too simple. So my questions to all of you friends, what do you feel that what should be the apt definition of a platform, and how is different from a layered security approach? When I say layered security approach, I just wanted to tell you one thing, that in security when platform started, or then when we started talking about the platform, layered security approach has been always there. In fact, that is the philosophy of security. If you look at good old days when firewall came, and after that a box came which was delivering both firewall, router, IDS, IPS and everything. In fact, even internet gateway, that was the concept of UTM which started. So layered security was always there. How is it different from the today's platform, Kalpesh?
Sure. Morning, everyone. I think that's an exercise, right? Everybody makes you say good morning. Frankly, it's just a way to make sure that you all are awake while it's morning. I think Durga sir has covered the very, the premise of platform security, right? But let's take a step back, right? Why is platform security so important today? And I do believe if we really see, there are two worlds that we live in. One is a world that was prior to COVID and there's a world post-COVID, right? The world post-COVID is a different world that we live in, right? There is nothing like a boundary. A perimeter has got diminished, right? So you are operating in a borderless organization, right? Which means whenever you talk about a defense, you have to realize that the perimeter has diluted, it is kind of obsolete, and that puts a lot of pressure, right? We've also seen the business models are evolving rapidly. No longer can any organization today, claim that, they can exist all alone. They have to coexist, which means you have to partner, you have to open your organization to multiple, I would say, stakeholders. Now, those stakeholders could be your partners, could be your vendors, could be so many people who are working closely. But it's more of the fact that organizations today collaborate more than they have ever done in the past, right? So, which means that is where your boundary, so it's not adequate that you protect your data. You have to make sure that the entire ecosystem with whom you are interacting. So you talk about supply chain, you talk about so many other terms, right? We keep on hearing these words. We call it jargons, we call it whatever. But in essence, it just says that our business models are evolving. They are getting more and more agile. And as security professionals, we have to step up to make sure that we start looking at a world which is beyond our perimeter, beyond our conventional definition of security, and expand it to make sure that it applies across so many stakeholders. Most of them you have no control over because you're CISO of your organization, you're not a CISO of your vendor. They have their own appetite, they will have their own controls. So platformized security comes in over here, where you can correlate, you could have a telemetry which is common, and you could have actionable intelligence and start defining context to what is important for you to safeguard your information assets. And I do believe that is the core of any platformized security. Now, if I had to do a Google, and I have done that very frankly, it says platformized security is something which is available on the cloud. It will have a lot of actionable intelligence. All that is great. That is a definition. People who have seen Three Idiots, right, and would remember Amir Khan's, the thing, right, when he had to define something. And the scientific definition and the real life examples are two distinct things. So keep it simple. You want your business to be successful. Security today is not about being a roadblock. You cannot go and tell business no to anything that they're asking for. So if you have to say yes to everything, what is the most secure way of enabling the business to open up themselves, to open up the channels, open up the communications in the most secure way? Platformized security is one of those. There are many such ammunitions. One of the ammunitions to send, to have a central view or have a common view on how we can attack common threat vectors. I think that's my definition, sir.
Defining broadly the platform security. So I just wanted to know, and the audience would like to know, is that how is it different from layered security approach? So he said something like collective intelligence. Is that the only differentiator? Or what is the difference that 10 years before or 5 years before we are calling it layered security and today we call it platform security?
So thank you very much, Durgaji. I'm Jackson Fernandez, Bangalore Airport. And first things first, good morning. And then it's refreshing that in an event at DSCI where everything was about Gen AI, the last 2 days I'm hearing only platform security. So it's a welcome break not to hear about Gen AI. The difference you asked, Durgaji, is, I think you mentioned it when you spoke in the beginning, organic. Now, if all those layers of security are organically done, which we know is not the case with a lot of platforms that are supposedly giving out platform security, because acquisitions, let's leave it at that, it's not as organic as it is. But if that holy grail is possible, to get all those various layers of security organically grown, and you have a single layer of not only intelligence, pardon me, Kalpesh, but also orchestration and response thrown into that, you are reaching towards that end goal of a platform security that we want to envision. And it's a holy grail. I think I was alive at a time, maybe younger than you, at a time when we said that all the alerts should go to a data lake. Then they said single pane of glass. Then they said everything should be on one XDR. Now, old wine in new bottle. I think we are at platform security. I don't know where the evolution of this will reach. Maybe we are still not at Homo sapiens. We are at Neanderthals as far as security is concerned, but we'll get there.
Very good, Jackson. Excellent thought. But I completely don't agree with you that it is a old wine in a new bottle. But I'll ask Kiran, who walked this talk, like he is the one who is delivering a platform. So Kiran, for you, what could be the definition of a platform? And please use the word organic.
So I'll try my best not to use AI and ML, which is overused in this conference. So for us, when we talk about platformized security, as rightly pointed out by Jackson, right? So not just intelligence, we're talking about interoperability, we're talking about security as a policy, security as a code, irrespective of the product being used, irrespective of the network device being used, being able to define it at a single level and have it percolate across irrespective of the vendors, irrespective of ecosystem that you have. That, I believe, is a very fundamental node for platformization of security, because that is what will enable you to operate irrespective of what service provider you're using, irrespective of what vendor you're using. You will be able to get visibility and telemetry into your systems and be able to react much faster than what was possible before. Groundwork for that is being laid by Zero Trust today, which I think is almost a non-negotiable item for platformization of security. But then bringing together the entire ecosystem, the intelligence, the actionable data, the telemetry, the response and remediation methods that you have, which are independent of the vendor ecosystem and are open in nature. I believe that is fundamental to platformized security.
So, thank you, Kiran. I'm actually careful about one thing. It's like when all of us say sometimes that we deliver security from one platform, it actually raises a lot of expectations. That they think that security is a vehicle which can be delivered through a factory line. So you automate everything and security gets delivered. That actually raises a lot of expectations. So we have to be very careful saying that there are so many things which cannot be delivered through platform. So we know your thought.
Yeah, thank you.
You have been in the business of engineering the platform. So what's your thought about defining a platform?
Okay. So I've been fortunate to be part of security. Before there were platforms, 25 years back, it was just point products. There was endpoint, there was a desktop firewall, then there became HIPS. And as products, started expanding into the network, encryption, data protection, cloud space, as a product vendor, we realized that from an operational perspective, customers don't want to be running multiple agents. They wouldn't want multiple consoles. They would like a single pane, a single agent, a single fabric, where from an installation, management perspective, and end-to-end task, they can rely on what we call a single platform. That was the business driver for companies which created point products to move to a platform space. Now, there are huge benefits to that because you're going to have a smaller footprint. You're going to have a common workflow when it comes to alerts, reporting, management, policy setting, etc. Now, we'll come to the cons later in the talk, but I'll pause for here.
Before I stay with you, my question is like, so broadly what you are, which coming up is there are multiple security solutions, discrete solutions. You are trying to consolidate those solutions and those functionality into one platform. So it is becoming efficient and convenient also for the end users. And how do you think that will be more useful to the people? And I want to understand from you, because you are in the engineering side of the platform, product manager, I want to understand from you, is like how you think that the platform will evolve in the next 5 years or the next 10 years?
From an evolution perspective, we're seeing more cloud adoption from our customers. So what would have been on-premise platform many years back is now a cloud platform or even a hybrid platform where you need to be able to cater customers with different needs. The second evolution we're seeing is you cannot just go to a customer and say, our technology is the best, our engines are the best. Be able to partner not just with vendors who you have a relationship with, but also with competitors, so that a customer who has different products from various vendors can plug in their engines, their alerts, their products into a single ecosystem, what we call an open platform. And that way, overall, from a customer perspective, you can negate any concerns that if I stick with only one vendor, I'm missing out on threats which could potentially bypass that single vendor.
Okay, very good. So Kiran, your thought, I have seen your solutions, and it's a true XDR solutions you have developed with multiple. I will not use the word AI, but you use it. It's not coming. What do you think that? What are you going to build in next 5 years? I'm not asking for your roadmap. I'm asking for your vision. So it could be. You said initially that security can be delivered through this platform. So are you thinking that, or is it feasible to develop an umbrella platform which is connect all these platforms together and make it a security platform, which is make the word which you said, I'm quoting from you, security as a code, actually implementable or reality?
I think we're there. So I think in the next 5 years, the vision of the organization is to be a open platform which can interact with our competitors and our partners also.
Very good.
Without taking any help from us. So built on open APIs, built on security as code, open policies, open frameworks. So it doesn't matter who the customer uses, because this was a pain point I had in my 19 years of experience, that when we went with one vendor, we pushed the other guy out. There may be few components of the other vendor that we liked, but we couldn't take it, primarily because we had to stick with the one vendor. That data is not interoperable with somebody else, and all of those things. So we are building the platform of the future. One of the first components which we just released yesterday, the secure data lake. It's an open lake where we are interfacing it with open APIs to any of our competitors to come in and dip into the lake and take any data they want, use it to interact and build any intelligence they want. Because we cannot make the claim as an organization, as a vendor, that we are the best always in everything. We have our strengths, we have our weaknesses. And we would welcome our competitors to utilize our platform to cover our weaknesses and deliver value to customers. And I believe that is where platformization of security is going to go into. Right? Like, I loved your analogy when you said, this is like a rail platform, right? Trains come in, whether it's an electric train coming in or a diesel-powered train coming in or a passenger or a exclusive rich train that is meant for palace on wheels, it still works. Right? That is what is key, and that is what we need to enable going forward. If you try to remain as close as possible, I think you will be out of the market soon.
Oh, very good, Kiran. It gives a lot of, I am sure, Kalpesh and Jackson will be very happy hearing this. I too, that the most challenge which you face is integrating between two solutions. The promises are everything can be integrated, but easier said than done. It has its own problem. So, Kalpesh, coming to you, I'm sure you have a lot of comfort now, that definition of the platform, evolution of the platform, roadmap of the platform. So now, just tell me that this platformized security strategy, how does it help you in your compliance requirement, regulatory framework? Because the kind of thing which is discussed till now, I think it cannot be done in a small scale. It is a large scale. And anything to be done in large scale has to be moved to a place called cloud. So there are issues. So Just tell us what are the flip side or constant of a platformized approach from a CISO's perspective.
Sure.
Just be very specific about, not about your company, but about CISOs. What would be the constant of the CISOs on this platformization approach?
Sure. I think we covered this in a bit, but I'll just re-stress on the fact that when you look at platformized security, there are advantages from a regulatory and compliance. Why? Because a regulator would have a holistic view in terms of your posture as you operate, right? So from that perspective, when everybody has a single definition, or you have a simplified telemetry that you could fall on, it makes your compliance that easy. But then the fact is, it's easier said than being done. And I think you rightly said, Durgaji's, let's look at the way we have evolved, right? We have always evolved where a new technology comes and we have been told this is the only thing that you need, right? So it started with firewall. Durgaji alluded on that. Then it was a next-gen firewall, right? Then it was something beyond a next-gen firewall, right? So it was it kept on evaluating, right? Then we saw something with the SIM coming on. We saw, basically signature-based antivirus. Then we saw pattern-based, right? So the way it has happened is we have grown in silos, right? Now the reality of the day is, right, we have so much of inorganic growth. We have so many tools that are there deployed, right? So even if I look at telemetry, even if I look at my source, I have so many conflicting sources, or I will have 5 different tools giving me the same source, so many overlaps with the tools. So I think those are the real challenges that we face. And one more thing about platformized security is, it's a dependence, right? Will I get bonded, or will I get really, will I be very dependent on that platform to drive my, my agenda? I think that is one thing that I would have to have answers on.
Oh.
Otherwise, it will be a single point of failure for me, and I can't afford that, right? And last that Durgaji said is, every vendor today, right, it's easier said than done. They are not keeping at pace in terms of the integration. Integration is with popular products, but if you start the journey, it's easy to start, but it's very difficult to comprehend and achieve all the outcomes, because you'll realize that you're able to reach 60% is easy, but that 40% will take all your efforts, you will toil for years and years together, but that gap remains. And that is the reason, from a CISO perspective, we always say it is not important that I am secure 99 times. That 40% gap is what will continue to give me that sleepless nights. So I think unless that integration happens seamlessly for all of my footprint, it's either, we operate in binary. Either I'm secure, I'm not secure. There is nothing like I'm partially secure.
Very good,
No regulator appreciates, partially compliant thing. It's either you're compliant or not compliant.
Very good, excellent. So you said something about consolidated view to the regulators. Actually, you are talking from a regulator perspective. That's the challenge between regulated and regulated entities. I spent 22 years as a regulator. I think the no regulated entities wants the regulator to see a consolidated view. That is a challenge always. So consolidated view is a problem for the regulated entities, the advantage for the regulator. So you are actually speaking regulators language. So, so Jackson, to you, hearing the roadmap or the vision of Kiran and Vinu said about the future, I'm sure you are excited now. So just tell me, what do you think that the flip side of platformization? And after that, say, what is the advantage of platformization? Start with flip side.
When you asked the question about the future of platformization, I thought it was supposed to be a stock market tip. Who should we invest in when we walk out of here?
Yeah.
But having heard both Kiran and Vinu, I mean, great points are raised. I'll tell you, maybe it's the risk management professional in me that, constantly evaluates this, but the place that I'm coming from, Kiran, I absolutely appreciate why you have to have it as an open framework for integration and all. But I think a constant road that we've seen with a lot of OEMs and product manufacturers is they start with a very altruistic motive of integrating with everybody, but as they become bigger and as they get more of the market, the ecosystems becomes more and more close.
Totally agree with you.
So that is a concern as a CISO. Then I would always carry that going ahead. Are you going to be as open as you claimed 5 years today on the stage? That's one part of it. The other part of it is also, I think, less technical, and I think we've talked about it also. You know, as a CISO, when we implement, and I do realize and I recognize the fact, believe me, when we do budgets, we realize so much of it is OPEX, so little of it is CAPEX. And the constant thing that we hear is that, oh, if you don't like the product, you can change. It's a subscription-based model, you can change. But the problem is that's change management involved in that organization, which is a pain. I mean, doing it on so many servers, doing it on so many endpoints, this is just a pain. So the problem is that we look for long-term strategy for these things. And cybersecurity, even in the tech field, if we look at it, cybersecurity has exponential mergers and acquisitions in the market. I mean, every big name is buying every other promising company out there. So sometimes as CISOs, we are left to wonder, what's the strategy if I invest in this tool now? I love the tool. I mean, we walk outside, DSCI has a wonderful section for COE of startups and all. Some really good stuff over there. But you invest that, you put it in your organization, and 6 months later, some big guy has come in and purchased it. Now I don't know what's the future of this platform. So that's another big concern as CISOs that sometimes we take.
Jackson, very good, but that's a fact that for which there is no solution. So, but we can't predict the future of everybody. That will keep on happening. But a couple of things which is coming up is collective intelligence is one of the requirement of platform, and which is coming up not that maybe very explicitly. It's coming up that platform to be efficient, it has to move to the workload has to move to the cloud. I have, with my interaction with few people, they said me that it is not required. You can have a very efficient platform, but not move to the cloud. I just want to have a deliberation on that. That can you have a platform? I think people over here, if I have heard them, I have them pitching also that we don't need to go to the platform, go to the cloud. We still can deliver a very efficient product. So I'll start with Vinu. What's your view on this?
See, our philosophy is there's no one size fits all. You know, you need.
I'm not at least able to hear you clearly. Is everybody hearing?
Sorry?
I don't know. Maybe I'm not able to hear you clearly.
Yeah, mic check. Can you hear me now? Okay. So our philosophy, you know, putting on my product manager hat is there's no one size solution that fits all. You'll need to cater to on-premise customers. For those who are hesitant to send data into the cloud, you'll have to deal with the bleeding edge customers who want everything in the cloud, and you'll also have to offer a hybrid solution for companies where certain units operate air-gapped or on-premise, and the other units are cloud-friendly. There is, again, to reiterate, you will have to be flexible according to the market needs and accordingly deliver products.
Okay. So what I was trying to understand, or the audience to know, or me to know, or all of us to know is, like, normally we feel that for a better situational awareness, better collective intelligence, it always makes sense. I'm not going there that it will be cost effective or any other thing about cloud. I'm only saying that your collective intelligence, efficiency, situational awareness will better in cloud. In that context, what is Kiran, your view? That can there be a solution which is equally efficient but not in the cloud?
So when we talk about open standards and open schemas and policy as code, security policy as code and other things, I don't think it really matters whether you're on cloud or not.
Okay.
It is completely transparent to the execution of the security policy itself, right?
Okay.
I mean, it doesn't matter whether you're on cloud, you're on-prem, you're hybrid. It's just another medium, and that is why it really needs to be built on open standards. So to Jackson's point, right, who do I go with? I mean, today you start as an open platform, tomorrow you may become a closed platform. And very well, I mean, once the company gets acquired, obviously it is not in the hands of the founder. The private equity guys or whoever are running it, they will drive it for profitability and things may change. And that is why I think it is far more important for you to understand the DNA of the organization you're working with. And building your platforms, whether small or an actual platformized security where we're talking at planetary level, it really makes sense for you to be dependent on as many open architectures as possible, as many open formats as possible, as many open schemas as possible, because your transformation will be that less painful when you actually try to shift away from the vendor who may or may not have failed you. Right? And when we talk about platformized security, what we're talking about is, that is exactly the pain point we're trying to walk away from. So tomorrow, a Kalpesh decides that, hey, this vendor is not working for me. I need a particular capability which is given by a different vendor, but 80% of what this vendor I like. They're my ML models I don't like. Crap, I said ML. Fine. So right. So, but 80% of what he does I like, but there is a better company that does better ML because they already are present in nation state investigations and their intelligence is better, then you will be able to plug that in. Today you're able to do that with sticks and taxi for intelligence, right? Like that, I believe everything else will start falling in place. Yes, it is not easy. If it was easy, we would not be having this discussion on this stage. We would have walked away and said, okay, fine, this is a solved problem, let's move on to the other things. Right? But it is not easy. It is a difficult journey because we'll be running in hybrid mode for a long time with legacy solutions that have been around in closed architectures for a very long time. But that is changing. Right? A lot of what you do on AWS is open. Right? You could build the same, I could make an argument that you can build that in your own data center too. Majority of it, not everything, right? So like that, if you actually build it on those kind of solutions, today we are on AWS, but everything we do is completely transparent to AWS. In the sense that the architecture can easily be moved on-prem, the architecture can easily be moved into your own data center, moved on to Azure, it really doesn't matter, right? So that is what we are talking about platformized security. And I want to bring one more point. Your first question was, what is platformized security as opposed to layered security? I think layered security is the foundation. That is non-negotiable. You need to have it. Platformized security is a way of enforcing your layerized security in a single language that can be understood by different devices across your entire layers.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. So Jackson, your thought on what I'm hearing is like, I'm not very clear, but I was always thinking that platform in a cloud has a lot of advantages. And if you're not going to a cloud, that a kind of a negotiation we are doing, that, okay, the customer doesn't want, the regulation doesn't want, that is why we are not going to the cloud. But I think the appropriate solution is going to the cloud. This is my view. I just want you to be devil's advocate and talk about it.
Thank you for placing me with the devil, Durgaji. We have a good banter on that. Having said that, yes, I in fact, like I said earlier, it has always been a challenge for sometimes to move with the cloud. Cloud was supposed to be the silver bullet for everybody's data center woes, and then everybody shifted to the cloud and then realized, oh, it's not that what it was meant to be. I just hope platform security doesn't end up being the silver bullet for security that we try to portray it as. But having said that, no, I completely agree with you. I am a hybrid person. And at the end of the day, business dictates not only your digital strategy, but your security strategy also. If your business is not on the cloud, why is your security on the cloud? What are you protecting there that you can't do it here? So there is that aspect of business is absolutely essential. And for that reason alone, I'm also very heartened to hear both Kiran and Vinu say that it's entirely up to us as a business to decide how do we want to deploy it. I'm actually of the opinion that, no, it doesn't have to be on the cloud. And whatever you can do on the cloud, you should be able to do on-prem over here. The only difference is that maybe because you democratized a bit of the solution on the cloud, I will get it cheaper, which was essentially not your question. And maybe if I do it a little bit more captive in my data center, I will end up incurring more cost. But then I believe that's the price of business and that's the price of security you pay. So that's my view on it. I'm on-prem or hybrid, unless necessary.
So we have another 7 minutes to go. What I'm planning is we'll take 2-3 minutes here. So Kalpesh, you have just less than 30 seconds just to tell us, all of us, about why do we feel that cloud is not the appropriate solution?
I think this question is more about, asking what are the qualities you're looking in your life partner, right? So can anybody tell me what are the qualities you're looking for a life partner? The answer is with all the qualities you select your partner. And if I ask you, all of you are very happy with your partner, not a single hand went up, right? I think that's the essence of it, right? Do we have to have a cloud, do we have to have a cloud approach? The answer is yes, right? The very topic says, aggregate, planetary level, intelligence. What is planetary level intelligence?
Right.
It's about, collecting the collective wisdom, right?
Absolutely.
And then applying that wisdom to secure all your assets. Now, if you're not, forget the word cloud, right? If it is not internet-based, if it is not real-time, it's going to defeat the very purpose what it's trying to achieve. Because today when the day zero happens, Google too, right? There was a day zero. Whenever there is a day zero, Log4j, right? What you really want is, you don't want to wait for a day, right? The old days where signature aayega, will upload it, it will push, right? Those days are gone. You want that if there is a IOC, there is a fix, it should apply in real-time basis. So I think that's where real-time updates, cloud has a better ability because somebody in the back end, without your intervention, you could automate the playbooks, they could really define, the fix, and you could just go ahead and deploy it seamlessly. If it had to have a manual intervention, that's going to be a different thing. Just 15 seconds, Jackson said cloud is cheaper. I think that's a myth. Cloud is expensive. And it's proven it is 1.5x times expensive than the on-prem solution. So if you are living in the world which says cloud is, if somebody has sold you that cloud hai, bahut sasta hai, right? You are living in some different la-la land.
Yeah,
it's going to be very expensive, subscription based. It turns out to be way more expensive than having it on-prem.
In fact, that narrative of cloud is cheaper, let's go to cloud is no more there in the industry. I mean, people are thinking in different ways, different thoughts are there and different motivations are there to go to the cloud. So
I'm sorry, Durgaji, I'll just correct. I never said cloud is
you
cheaper.
Never said that, I know, you never said.
I don't believe in that.
You just said, you never said that,
Yeah.
correct. So what I will do is, very quickly for both of you, just wanted to understand, all of us will learn, what would be an appropriate architecture, technical architecture for a platform, starting from, I mean, a lot of things we have been hearing. We have been hearing mesh by Gartner, XDR. The X has become so synonym that everybody talks about X this thing, X that thing. So what should be an appropriate architecture for a platform?
Okay. So in order to keep the cloud cogs low, right? Because when you look at your monthly AWS bill, everybody sweats. So if you can store the majority of the data on-premise and use the cloud to look at policies, alerts, metadata,
okay.
that will help keep the cost down. So a hybrid approach is going to help.
Very good. How to you, Kiran?
Yeah, just one comment. The cloud is at least 2 times more expensive. Personal experience. We store over 150 terabytes that we process each day on our cloud platform. We would have been able to do it much cheaper if we put it in our own data center. The only reason we have to do it on the cloud is because we have to be present in multiple geographies. At this point, it is a little more expensive. But we are seeing a lot of repatternization. So to answer your question, I think a hybrid approach is what it is going to eventually result in. Because even today, by a large scale, storage as a service is still a lot cheaper on the cloud than managing it yourself with respect to the redundancy and other things. And what is cloud technically, right? I mean, let's talk about that a little bit. It was what your managed security service is today, or a managed service was. It is just compute as a service for you, or a storage as a service for you, or something of that sort, an app as a service for you. So it's really not very different from what you would do in your own data center, but at a much larger scale. But as I agree with Vinu here, right, we still do this. A lot of the compute intensive tasks we push to the cloud because that is not required all the time. These are only required once in a while, probably once or twice a day. There are huge compute intensive tasks where I can scale to 100, 150 nodes and then come back down. Those are the only main things that I would move to the cloud. Everything else on-prem makes a lot more sense from economic perspective. But as Kalpesh said, right, what qualities do you want in your life partner? You should ask mine. But on a lighter note, right? It is really, what is your business? If your business isn't actually a large-scale e-commerce, then there's no reason for you to be on cloud. That is really the key.
I just wanted to, I need to close it with the panelists before we go to the audience. I just asked one question to two CISOs. My request is just answer in 10 seconds. Okay. So like the same questions to you. What do you choose in your life partner? What are the points that you would like in your life partner? And here is the life partner is platform. Okay. So what are the two qualities you will choose while selecting a life partner? I mean partner, a platform.
I think, good one. So I think when I'm looking for a life partner, right, I would want somebody who can sing along.
I'm saying about platform.
Yeah, platform. That's what I'm saying. I'm just connecting platform, life partner with the platform. As an organization, if I want to marry to a platform, I would want to see that, culturally they're aligned in terms of, the vision.
Very good. Very good.
Right? And B is about the longevity. I think a commitment, because when you talk about platform, right, is a partner committing himself or herself to my organization. Because
very good.
In good times, we are going to dance together. We all know that. There is a song, right? Jab koi baat bigad jaye, jab koi mushkil aa jaye. So will the partner, will that platform partner stand with me? Or will he just say that, boss, it is your problem, I am out of it? I think those two qualities, sir.
Jackson,
Sir, what I have as a quality, I cannot tell that it's required in a life partner. Because like Kiran said, open architecture that you can, integrate with other partners also. So that's, I think, a quality I think that we need to carry as a platform.
So excellent learning from all of you about platform. At least me, a lot of things I learned from here. So madam, I just would like two questions from the audience before I close. Just two questions. So just one question. You started 10 minutes late, we didn't tell you anything. You didn't start on time. It was on 11 o'clock, you started at 11:20, we were waiting for there. You don't allow us for 1 minute. One questions, please.
Let's do an audience.
One question.
You fought for the question, now you should ask the question.
You should ask one question. I would take one, otherwise this is not complete.
Okay, go ahead.
One question.
I can help you.
Thank you so much. So much has been talked about platformization so far, and we have seen large product vendors have also moved towards platformization as a storyline. If I as a client have to look at what percentage of my product portfolio within cybersecurity I should go with platformization, and how much percentage I need to keep set aside for best-in-breed solutions and the innovations that's happening on the street right outside that you see here. So is there any ballpark percentages that we need to look at? Because I think we have come a long way in platformization today, and there's some good amount of maturity that has happened in platformization also, where at one point in time we were in best-in-breed solutions. For every small things we had different solutions. So if there is a ballpark percentage that I need to take home back, saying that what should be that for clients to look for?
No, I would say a major part of it you should move towards platformization. But when you're looking at platformization, ask the right questions. Right? We're not just talking about, there's a very big name vendor that came out with platformization. And when he spoke about platformization, it was literally his ecosystem and his vendor ecosystem, his partners, and nothing was open. It was all closed. A lot of us have seen that as a marketplace. Right? If you look at an Apple marketplace, Google cannot play in it. Google marketplace, Apple cannot play in it. That kind of a story. So I think asking the right questions is really important when you talk about platformization. And I would start moving your journey towards platformization. I don't think it is there's a measure of whether it is 10%, 50%, 60%. I don't have an answer for you. But at least start with your biggest repository. That will be your data store all the time. And that will be your compliance policies all the time. Right? Whether I'm talking about not just HIPAA, PCI, I'm talking about security policies also. There I would make a first humble beginning as how interoperable will this be going forward 5 years from now, 10 years from now. That is what I would think, but Vinay, do you want to comment on it?
Yeah, if you're looking for a percentage, you're probably better off, talking to Gartner, Forrester, or, an IDC analyst. This panel, couldn't come up with a number.
I think in the interest of time, we should close it. Otherwise, they will blacklist us. So, sorry. So anyway, it was a very, very pleasant discussion. Thank you, panelists. Thank you, guys, for your patient hearing. And thank you, the organizers. I really enjoyed it personally. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
We have tokens of our appreciation coming out to all of the panelists. There you go. We operate in a world where the perimeters in the cybersecurity space have dissolved consistently. This means that companies have to take additional measures to keep their ecosystem safe from malicious attacks. If we can combine all of the security layers and strike a perfect balance of security, protection, and response to cyber attacks, then we can achieve the end goal, or the holy grail of platform security. And bringing in a platform security system that can combine all of the parameters that are free of the vendor system and are open source is critical to the future of cybersecurity, brought in with, of course, anecdotal responses and fun metaphors to life. So thank you so much, panel and panelists.